Oh, the time is 6 o'clock and the date is May 1st. And I'd like to welcome everyone here to the Newfane Town Regular Select Board meeting. Does anyone have any, our first order of business is to approve the minutes for our April 17th meeting. Does anyone have
any correspondence first?
Pardon, yes, don't we add to that?
Add first before any other actions.
Yes, that's what I'm going to do.
Before you look at the minutes, add correspondence to the agenda.
Okay. I would like to move that we add correspondence to the agenda, since it's not on there, and may I have a motion to do so?
Make a motion to add correspondence on them.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is somebody saying it? That was you?
Second.
Oh, all right, we do. All right, and are we ready to vote? All those in favor of adding it to the agenda?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's unanimous. And it'll be down in just before the pay orders move on. Okay. Looking over the notes, the minutes from the April 17th, does anyone want
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. And we have a second. All right. And all those in favor of approving the minutes for April 17th, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving right along. All right, we have a road foreman and road commissioner's report. Todd?
Sorry, guys. What's that?
It's your turn, Todd.
That would be me. As far as the roads go, we were very lucky this spring that mud season didn't get us too bad. The only mud that we had was a small spot on Parish Hill Road and some on the South Wards Road. Wards Road is a little bit worse, but overall the roads took it pretty good. We've taken all the posted signs down. We've been out grading a lot of the roads. The crew's been out cleaning culverts and manholes, and they've been cutting dead trees in River Road. Most of the roads are in pretty good shape. Some of the roads have yet to be graded, but we are working on that as we get around to it. As far as the equipment goes, we are steam cleaning the trucks and sanders, and we'll be fluid filming them soon to prevent rust. We fixed the hydraulic leak on the 2014 Mack, and we had another hydraulic leak on the backhoe. We fixed that as well. The wing posts have been taken off the grader for the year. The plow frame on the 2013 Mack has been fixed at our shop. That got bent just before spring. The York rake, our front mounted York rake, the one we use every day, is pretty well worn out. We fixed it many times where it is worn. It's been going through 2 sets of York rake teeth a year. It should only really be going through a set of teeth every 2 years. The problem with it is the teeth are $850 every time you wear out a set. Steve's tried to weld some supports for it and try to get it to rake the roads the way they're supposed to be raked. Right now it's leaving a lot of stone in the roads. We didn't put it in the budget this coming year because we ended up having to spend more money on radios than I thought we were going to have to, but I got a price on the York rake today and they're right around $4,900. Christopher's seen it and I think he agrees with that we need to replace it somehow. I'm not sure whether there's money in capital that we could take out of there and do it or what, but it is not raking roads the way it should. As far as Kenny Pond goes, I looked at the retaining wall with Mark Pickering and Megan from V-Trans. The wall hasn't changed any, hasn't gotten any worse. But the dam inspector for the state of Vermont would like us to do something with it. And Mark and I and Megan looked at it and don't see any reason why we can't take some fill that we have at the garage in the South Newfane yard, dump it up there and have somebody with an excavator or a bulldozer or something to slope that wall off and then seed it down when we get done with it. But Mark would like us to get a hold of the dam inspector and meet up there with him just to make sure that that's okay before we go ahead and do it. I'm gonna have to get a hold of Shannon here tomorrow sometime when she's not quite so busy. See if we can't find that number. I know it's in the file somewhere. I don't have it at work though. As far as the truck bids go, Shannon's got those bids out now. River Road Bridge, and we have good news there that the town did get a grant from V-Trans for the amount of $175,000 to do the work. But V-Trans has made it very clear not to do any work until we hear back from them. They said some of the towns have done work before July 1st, and there's a possibility they could lose the money, so they made it very clear to me and to Shannon not to do any work or don't put it out to bid until we clear it with them first, or till they call us, let us know it's okay. Shannon and I worked with Mark Pickering and Megan on a Friday to get the bid drawn up. It's pretty well done. You got a few little things we got to do to it, but now, like I said, it's waiting for them to let us go ahead and put it out to bid. Bandrail repairs on the South Wardsboro Road. Last fall, the state sent us a letter that we needed to do some bandrail, or needed to do some work on 3 bridges, or we could lose our grant funding. The bridge on Baker Brook Road, it was just a little tiny bridge. We did the abutment work on that, so that one's clear. But I met with a gentleman from Lafayette, and we measured up both the bridges that needed the bandrail. And he was supposed to send a price down and didn't, so I got a hold of Lafayette the other day, and they are going to get the price down to Shannon at some point right off. But as soon as we get it, I think the board should authorize us to go ahead and get that done. I know last year we said we're going to do it as soon as we get the price, but when I get the price, I'll make sure the board knows about it before we do it. But I don't really want to lose our state funding if we can help it. As far as the highway crew goes, everybody's doing well. They're getting a lot of work done. Everybody seems to be doing well. And that is all I have.
I have one more thing. I think we've got to put out to hire somebody, because we really need another person. There's so much work to be done. All the bridges have to be cleaned off, or haven't been done yet, which I understand why they haven't been done. But, we got to get,
The application's done, right?
Yes.
yes,
So it's just a matter of putting it out.
Well, we have to approve it.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought we approved it.
Well, we didn't approve the correction, we made corrections and then
Right.
yeah, so, it's a slow process. But tonight, it's on the agenda.
Well,
I
it needs
did-
doing,
Okay.
my opinion.
Yes. Okay. I have a question, Todd. On our last meeting, you, in your town report, mentioned about Williamsville Hall and the heating, and that you were going to be talking to Steve. You did. Could you update us on that?
Yep, the day that I said the heat was on, I didn't realize it had been rented. They were having the Seder dinner, I believe they call it,
Okay.
and I shut it off so it was a little cool in there on them. But I did ask him to keep an eye on the oil because it's going down fairly fast, and he said he would, so.
Okay, so everything's
Yep,
cool, so to speak.
He's on board with it also.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, do we have a motion to accept the road report?
Make a motion to accept it.
A second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I stayed.
Okay, so it passes with 3 ayes and 3 yeses and 1 abstention. Okay. There. All right, we're on to new unscheduled members of the public. Oh, we have an unscheduled member of the public. Yes.
I gave the select board a memo on a couple of items that I want to update you on. One is a townwide reappraisal. The booklets informing the property owners of their new proposed values, 2017-18, will be mailed out on the 9th or 10th of May by the appraisal company. And there's a schedule, there's a tentative schedule for informal grievances for May 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th, in which people will call the lister's office to set up an appointment. After they're finished with the informal grievances, then the listers will mail out a notice to all property owners and then we'll have the formal grievance of the listers, in I think it's the third week of June. And then after we finish with that process and print the abstract of the grand list, then near the end of June, then the select board will set the tax rate. And the tax bills will have to be mailed before July 15th.
Looks like you're entering into a very busy time of the year.
Well, it always is, but it'll be busier.
It will be busier.
It'll be busier.
Okay.
And the other,
Go ahead.
does anybody have any questions about the reappraisal?
Any questions? Any questions? I just, refresh my memory, is this, do the homeowners get the notification in the mail? Are these all?
I just said that the booklets informing them will be mailed out
Yeah, I have.
9th and 10th.
Here, I have jet planes in my ears, so I have
Well,
this one.
I wrote it on a memo, so,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It comes in the mail. It's a booklet that, if you've been here in the past, if you were here in 2007,
Right. Okay.
everybody got a booklet.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And the next item I have has to do with the mapping, Newfane digitized mapping program. It's coming along pretty good. We noticed that the contract calls for the project to be completed by May 31st. And I'd suggest that that change to May 30th, and I talked to the David Greenwald about that. Excuse me. Part of it has to do with, he had to get a new plotter, so that's been down. Plus, I would like to have, because we're so close to the reappraisal, right now the mapping program has the information for the property owners and so forth from what would be last year's grand list. And because we're coming up with a new grand list, I'd rather have that information be in the new mapping program. I don't think it's, I talked to Shannon about it today, about how, I don't know how the board wants to deal with that, but David Greenwald is in agreement that, yes, the longer, if we can delay it a month or more, excuse me, 6 weeks maybe, it'll be more accurate. It'll be better information.
And this is, excuse me, this mapping has to do with the floodplains, is that correct?
It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That you can click on and you can find out the contour map, the contours of your property.
Right.
You can find out, and the floodplain thing is really kind of broad. It's not as accurate as, and even the mapper said that. You know, but there's information, you can find out about your abutting property owners. There's all kinds of layers of things that you can put on. It'll have the, it's got wetlands on there. It's got village, when we figure out the village designations too, that'll be on there.
Oh, that is nice.
And the rural resource in areas, in village areas are on there. So there's all kinds of levels and layers that you can put on to the whole thing.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Does it show property owners, like the amount of land they own and that kind of information as well?
It depends upon which things you click.
But so it is there
Yes,
somewhere?
yeah, it's there.
Yeah, and tax information too?
Tax information, no. I don't think you can put it on, but values, I'm not sure either. But you can take, like, I did my property, and I can find out how many feet it is this way, this way, this way.
And I'm just wondering about surveying, because I have to tell you that our land, all the years I grew up there, we thought we had 69 acres, and then we had it resurveyed in like the late 90s. Turned out we had 93 acres, so.
A survey is
How
the
does-
most accurate. I mean, we go by, if there's a survey, then we go by the survey.
Oh, fine.
First is the deed will tell you plus and minus, and then we go by a survey. And there's some question about the acres that they say there are for the mapping program, but, yeah.
But I suppose if someone has their property resurveyed or something changes, someone.
So, because we've given the mapper some of the surveys, the new surveys that we have. So he uses that information when he's doing the plotting on the map. Yeah.
Doris, isn't it true that if the property hasn't been surveyed, or even if it has been surveyed but not turned in to
We
the
have that
town,
too.
What?
the property, there are property owners that have not had their property surveyed, and that there is no original survey turned into the town. And so it's just it's close.
But is that then up to the owner, the
Yes.
current owner, to get their property
There's
surveyed? if
there's
they-
not a lot of surveys in reality in the town. And if there is a survey, a lot of people don't turn it in.
That's right.
To be
You don't
filed.
have to, it's not.
Well, more and more you're required to do
Yes.
that.
Oh.
But in the past, you didn't have to do it. Sometimes people didn't turn them in because they found out they had more acres than what their deed said, and they didn't want to have that changed. We had one property that got subdivided this year, and one of many. And when they did the survey, we ended up with an extra 15 acres of property.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah. But it was a subdivision for a large piece. In large pieces, oftentimes, they haven't been surveyed, and then it's plus or minus, you know, to the big oak tree. It's no longer there.
I'd make a motion if you need 4 to 6 weeks, go ahead and use it. That makes it better.
Or no, you said June 30th, so July
Does
15th.
anyone have any
That'll be fine, yeah.
questions or comments for Doris?
Can you repeat what you said, Mike? You make a motion?
Well, she said that they could use another 6 weeks to make it better for everything on the road. I'd
Right.
give them the extra 6 weeks.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion
Thank you.
to postpone.
Or extend.
Extend.
You have
Extend
to
it.
tell me exactly, I can't hear
So
you.
it's from what, May 31st is the deadline, so you're looking at the second week of July.
You want to say July 15th?
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion to postpone the deadline to July 15th,
Extend it.
and we have a second. Do we have any further discussion? Have any other additional discussion on that? All right, so those in favor of approving the motion to delay the final, is it appraisal or mapping?
Mapping.
To July 15th. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it passes unanimously. All right, so let's write that down. Okay. New business, Worker Appreciation Day idea. Well, it just so happens that this year, 2017, our town garage is 20 years old. It was built exactly 20 years ago. So I think it would be an awesome thing to have a celebration for that. It's still standing, and that's a good sign. And
Doors have been replaced.
and I also thought that we need to have an employee appreciation. There's actually an unofficial United States holiday, and it's on it's in March. I think it's March 5th or the last something of March, you can look it up online, where employers do celebrate and appreciate formally their employees. You know, paycheck is great, but it's also great to be told you're doing a good job and to celebrate your good job. And I think we need more of that in this town, and the fact that we have had recently some events. And so I think it's great. I think, I'm not even sure how many citizens have actually gone to the town garage and taken a look at their absolutely gorgeous, humongous trucks. And it would be great to have some type of appreciation and celebrate the 20 years of service in the town garage. So that's my idea. Do we have any discussion about that?
We have carousels and bouncy houses.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Carousels, bouncy houses.
No bouncy houses, no carousels.
I'm not going.
But perhaps little barbecues and maybe plug in some crock pots and have potluck. And we have tons of musicians here that are really talented in this town, and they can bring the kids. You know, how many of you have actually been to the town garage? Okay, well, everybody here, but I know that most people have not. And I think that it would be good education and would kind of booster up how much the town really does appreciate those guys. Mostly we see the trucks just whizzing up and down the road in the middle of winter, or some guys out digging, cleaning out ditches, and so those kinds of things. But I think it would be great to visit that place. Also, it's really great because where the town garage is located is the entrance to the town forest. And I've hiked that forest a couple times myself, and it's just kind of hidden off there to the side. I'm not sure that, I think that would be a great place for families to investigate as well. Yes?
Would you be celebrating the people who work here as well?
Absolutely. All of our employees. And a lot of the townspeople come to the town office, and they do see the employees that are working here. And or they go to Williamsville Hall, that we own that property as well, or the town does. And so how many would also like to check out the town garage, take a look at it, and celebrate its 20 years and all the people who are involved with working for the town. So it's up to you guys to figure out if that's something you want to do this year.
Well, I think it's a great idea to acknowledge town employees
Absolutely.
from whatever jobs they
Yeah,
have.
absolutely.
And you're right, it's, I think it's very important to be acknowledged for doing a good job. It really does a lot for the soul. And in terms of the town garage, truthfully, the only reason I've ever been over there is if I had to talk to Todd when we had a message to send him when he was chairperson or something. I've never been there on my own, but it is quite something to see. And in terms of if that would be the location to have the party, I don't know how that would work, but we could talk about that.
Yeah.
I do know that the Newfane Fire Department is often used for parties to acknowledge different groups. And we certainly do acknowledge the volunteers of the fire department, which I think is so important. And I think it's equally important to acknowledge the people who work here every single day of the year and do a great job. So that's an excellent idea.
Well, thank you.
And I suggest a potential presentation to the road crew and people, shovels, so that when they don't have anything to do, they can have something to lean on.
There you go.
Gold ones?
Any other comments?
And I'm always for a good party.
I think you
I
are.
think so too.
Yeah.
I like parties.
Right.
And I did, yes.
I was just gonna say the Grange is a great place to have parties too, because they've got that nice kitchen downstairs.
Well, the reason I had mentioned the town garage is it is the town garage's 20th year. And
Well, I mean,
it was built
because they're
in.
really close together, you could have something going on at the
Yeah,
garage
absolutely.
and have
That's
the food part over at
Yeah, that's a
the
great
Grange,
idea.
because
And I did talk to Todd about, what he thought of the idea, and he said he thought it was a good idea.
I
So
would-
we've covered that base.
I would recommend, and I don't know how others feel, we're already in May.
Yeah.
I would think that after Labor Day might be a good time to do it.
Well, we could
because
always-
Summer is coming and people
Absolutely.
go away, and then at the beginning of fall and before for foliage, when everybody's busy with other things, it might be like in September, but that's just a suggestion.
Well, my reason for bringing it up was just to present the idea. I mean, there's a lot of details to have to work out, and dates and times and all that sort of thing. But I think we need to approve this. And does anyone want to make a motion?
A serious note, we have to check out insurance, whether you can have that, because there's heavy equipment involved, potentially dangerous things. So I think the very first thing is we ought to check out our insurance policy.
Good idea. We can always build chain link fences around each truck. No, it's easy. Okay.
Right, and just quickly following up on both of the comments with Johanna and Gunther, is that, say if there is a problem with insurance or whatever, if there could be like some sort of a tour over there and back, maybe if we can't really hang out there, but we could
Absolutely.
get over there. Because I think the idea is great from the point of view of demonstrating to the town what our taxes in fact go
Absolutely.
toward. And to see the building, to see the trucks, even if it's just a tour and not the cookout as such.
That's a good idea. Well, when you see those trucks, I mean, when I look at those trucks, I am just totally amazed. I'm amazed that anyone could even drive them. But, but the fact that they are well taken care of, and it's really great.
So I'll make a motion that it would be great to plan having a celebration and an acknowledgement day for not just the people in the town garage, and they're very, very important workers, but to include all the employees of the town. And that the motion would be to start thinking and planning for this, and we don't know when that's going to be yet.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion that I can't repeat, and a second, to have a Worker Appreciation Day celebrating 20 years of the town garage. All right, all those in favor? Okay, it is unanimous that we're going to look forward to planning. We don't have anything planned yet, but we're going to work toward that. Moving right along, personnel policy. Last meeting, we did make some corrections on the revised job description and job application form, and we should have them.
No,
We don't have
what's
them?
on the agenda is the personnel policy that needs to be signed.
Oh, the personnel policy? All right, personnel policy. What happened, are we supposed to also sign the corrections on the job description? Not really?
I mean, you guys made the changes, so
Okay.
I thought it was normal. The personnel policy, the only changes are, you have to update the name of the chairperson,
Oh,
and the signature page. Everything else is the same.
okay, so page 12.
And I only made one because it's long and I didn't want to
Yeah, it is.
waste a bunch of paper, so.
And then so I'll just pass this around to everyone? Yep. Well, it's good to actually get out the fact that we do have an updated job description and an updated job application form that will be going out hopefully, and as we go forward with hiring a new road crew member.
So are you putting that out tonight, are we, or not?
Sure.
Yes, it will.
Because I mean, it's not on here, so do we do that under this one?
Okay.
Personnel?
It should be going, well, we need to talk to Todd and to Chris, and Chris has already made determination that should go out ASAP.
So you need to add
Yes,
it in the
definitely.
paper. Yep.
Okay. All right, this is done.
So when would you be calling it back in for?
Pardon?
When would you want it back in by people's backs?
Say first.
It'll go out this week.
So if you made it the deadline the Thursday before the first meeting in June, that would give them time to get them in, and then you could review them at the first
Okay,
meeting in
and what
June.
is that date? Do you know? Do we know offhand?
No, we don't. Let me look.
Oh, it's not on the calendar there.
No,
On the wall.
Hold on. So the first meeting in June is the 5th, so if you made them due June 1st.
And will it be in both the Commons and the Reformer?
Yeah.
Yep.
And on the website.
It's on the website, and then it'll be just posted and around the town?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So, do we normally send it out any further than that?
What are you asking for on it? What's the description like though? You already got that all described out, what you're looking for?
Yeah, we
right?
did.
So what I thought I would do is just take that description and shorten it a bit, and then,
Well, on the
Break
job,
the ad
on
in
the job application, the cover letter is a description, is a short description of the job.
yeah, that's pretty long for an ad though. That would be really
Okay, I see what you
expensive.
mean. Yep. All right.
So I can shorten it a little more and create an
So you put the
ad.
thing in the ad and then you pick up the job description here.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. Will you put the
Yeah, give
whole,
a copy.
the full first page on the town website though?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Keep moving right along. Animal control officer identification discussion. Oh, and we have a
Thanks
call
for
for the
being
animal
identified.
control officer.
Sorry. That's somebody getting back.
Who maybe, someone's getting bitten or something.
It was a bite, but everything's
It
okay.
was?
Yes, just up the road here.
That call was?
It was somebody getting back to me, yeah, it happened earlier this month,
Well, that's
but
quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
You're a very busy animal control officer.
it's springtime, the sap's flowing, you know?
Dogs are biting. Okay, we did have a discussion about, we'd like to make sure that you get some identification
That would be
so
great.
that when you have to make a call,
Yes.
have to go up to somebody's house, that you do have proper ID.
I would appreciate that.
Yes, and we have actually, can he see, would we like to see this?
So I just did a quick search online for photo ID badges.
Yep.
And it looks like they're between $11 and $12.50 for a badge. And when I was talking to Gary Delius, he said you should actually see how much it costs to just get your own laminator because they're useful for other things as well. The listers also don't have them, and they enter people's
Yes, they
property.
need them as well.
They should have them, and really the zoning administrator should have one.
Right.
So, and if, please don't leave, but if Mike were to leave, we would have to get another one for the new person. But he's not leaving.
No, thank goodness he's not.
He's staying. So, in the end, $12.50 a piece for a badge, or $126 for the laminator, and $30 for 100
Did you all
laminating
take a look
sheets.
at this?
Shannon, I use a
Yeah.
laminator at school a lot. It's not really the same as.
It's not that
as
great.
a, no, I mean, it's great. It's great. I use it for teaching supplies, but it's you know, it's thin,
Right,
relatively
thinner.
thin plastic. It doesn't feel
Right.
like a credit card, or which is probably more what you want, is like a solid plastic
Yeah, probably.
card. So I
so-
think that laminator you're talking about is probably like my classroom one. That's-
Yeah, they had them going up to like $400, and that was a little
I don't-
ridiculous,
I-
but.
it doesn't
Aren't
seem
there
like-
places that you can go to? Like there used to be places in New York, for example, where you could get your driver's license laminated or things like that.
Oh,
Aren't there
probably. I mean, it's
Staples or
probably
maybe?
the same price as this, so, and they do all the design for you anyways. So, just a couple different options for you.
Okay, So we do. Should we make this decision
Sure.
tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have, for Mike, we can give him one card for about $11, or we can actually for somewhere about $120, $130.
It's about 156 when you count in the laminating sheets and the
Okay,
machine.
about 156. We can buy one to be used here in the town office for other things, as well as making sure that all of those who have to approach people that perhaps might not be so happy to see them would actually have.
Select board
It
members.
could include, we might need that as well. So that we can make plenty of these badges. So that is very long. So what does our select board want to do?
I think I'd go with the machine.
Okay. So we have a motion to
Machine.
purchase a cold laminating machine.
I have a question, do we have that in the budget now, or do we have to wait till July 1st?
No, it'll be in our supply budget. We've got it.
We have it.
Actually, we have animal control.
Okay, great.
Do we have a second?
I'll second
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we will be purchasing a cold laminating machine for the purpose of making ID badges for those employees and volunteers that need them. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It does pass unanimously. I just wanted to ask you, Mike, if you have any updates that you can share with us about the recent uptick in animal control calls.
Animal control calls, most this time of the year, of course, is the poop problem. And we've talked to owners and residents about that. I would like to have a discussion sometime in the board to follow through with some signage and some mutt mitts to keep our commons and our town center clean. The other thing is dogs running off leash. And I found in most cases when I talk to people, they respond, like in this case, they respond in kind. And it's very rarely that I have to go to a written letter, and I know since I've been here in the last year and a half, the board's sent out a couple of certified letters. So most of the things are taken care of. They're just very annoying, and they take a little time to solve or to get people to comply.
So you're doing good.
Well, we're just, doing what we can.
Well, I was wondering, when you, about dogs running off leash, do most people that you talk to about that realize that it's in the ordinance that they do need to have their dog on leash?
Yes and no. I don't question them, did you know? But when I tell them there is an ordinance, and that's something I want to bring up tonight about because there is a verbal component to that ordinance that makes it a little bit challenging sometimes. Somebody running with their dog or something that can verbally call it back, but I've had a couple of instances where there has been confrontation. And maybe it's the springtime, but people are getting a little testy with complying or even being told to comply when they're running with their dogs. But again, most people are very amenable, and once they know, like this dog bite up here, it was somebody watching a dog and their son letting the dog out without saying anything and it running around, and it's like, this is not acceptable, and if it happens again, we've got a big problem. So yeah, and I told her, and immediately she's reprimanding the son. So people are usually very good once you talk to them.
Do you carry a copy of the animal dog
The ordinances,
in your
yes.
truck or car?
Yeah, and then the state puts out this book of bite or bark, and it's got woof. I know it was something tricky like that. The big book of woof. And this is the state guidelines and the issuance, and then I also have the town regulations. So.
Well, I'm sure we all here, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. I'm really thankful that you're on the job and you make mean, I'm sure the citizens are very thankful that you're out there.
Well, you're welcome, and I would like to sit down and put a little bit more policy or procedure and process to this job. You know, it does give us guidelines, but it doesn't say how we would like to do it here in Newfane.
Could you share those with Shannon, those little pieces that you would like to shore up?
Sure.
And then maybe we could have a meeting in the future that we could then discuss those?
And then talk about ticketing too, because I have not issued a ticket, we have not issued a ticket yet.
Yeah.
But I think we're due in a couple of cases.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that the correct procedure is followed through.
Would you be available for our next regular meeting?
I'm going to be gone for about 10 days, and then once I'm back, I will be. So I should be
Okay.
back by the 13th or so.
So,
Yep, next meeting's the
just let
15th.
Shannon know and she'll
15th?
schedule you.
Okay.
I have a question, Shannon. Mike is the town
Can you see?
person,
Mhm.
animal control officer. Does that include that, the fact that he would be also the animal control officer for the incorporated village of Newfane?
It's in the town, and I would assume the town
town.
ordinance
Mhm.
covers the full town, whether, I
So-
mean, does the village have its own ordinance?
Yeah. Well, it seems that they do, but
So,
I just saw a posting last night that the Incorporated Village of Newfane is having their annual meeting on May 10th, Wednesday. And I'm wondering, I'm going to bring issues up at that meeting, but I'm wondering if I could represent that we have Mike Young here as a volunteer for the town, and perhaps he would be available at one meeting, or could I quote what he has said?
right, so if the village has its own separate ordinance, it would be up to the village to enforce that.
But if they're going under the town ordinance.
But if they're using the town ordinance, I don't know why they have a village.
Well, I have a
ordinance.
question on that. I've never heard that before, that I have the town of Newfane, and there are some ordinances for the village, the
Right,
incorporated
and I
village.
would,
Yeah,
I've
well,
never
I'm
seen
going
them.
to double check.
Would
on
you
it.
check those?
Sure.
Because I was told by the former clerk that there is a $100 fine for dog poop. And I can't find it here in the town of
Well-
Newfane. Maybe it's under the village.
Yeah,
Might
that's
be,
what
and
I
I've
had
never
asked
seen one.
Shannon, when I had asked about where is it stated, what the fines are, you had said it's in the ordinance, but I don't know
There
where.
are fines listed in the ordinance, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you're
Is it the
looking.
town ordinance?
Yeah, if there is a village ordinance, I wouldn't see it because
Yeah,
we're not.
no, I know, but so what is the fine? It's $100?
It goes up, depending on the violation, it goes up each offense. And I think it does start.
It starts at 15 for a
Yeah.
municipal, what do they call it? A municipal, whatever. There's two things. There's either a civil penalty or a municipal
Right.
fee that can be levied. And I don't know if both can be levied or it's one or the other, but it starts at 15 on one and 25 on the other, and then it goes up gradually.
Right.
So, but I wasn't aware of any
Okay, well,
for the village.
I'll ask about.
That would be good to find out.
And if there is, it would really be up to Mike whether he wanted to volunteer to, enforce
of
that
course. No,
specific
of course,
ordinance.
I
or
know
not.
that, yeah.
Well, and I'm amenable, certainly.
Okay, no, I just want to check and see, and as I said, I'm going to bringing up this issue at the village meeting, and I'll find out if we have our own ordinances.
Yeah,
Okay.
and if you do, I'd love to see it.
Yeah. me too.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving right along, we have an audit bid to discuss.
We don't have one.
I don't have an audit bid.
No, there isn't one. It was just simply something that was mentioned during budgeting to bring up sometime in the spring, that it hasn't been
Oh, right.
put out to bid in quite a few years. The current company does a great job. I have no issue with them at all, but simply for the fact that it hasn't been done.
All right, what do you think that the citizens would want us to do? we wanna go, since we're happy
Well, how much
with
do they
the.
cost for the audits and stuff anyways?
It's about 18,000 a year.
Aye.
That wouldn't hurt to put it out to bid. I mean, you can always accept or reject either one of them. You don't feel
I'm
it's
sure
your
that
fault.
the current auditors that we use would also submit a bid.
Yeah, I would hope so.
So,
And when would you put out that bid? What time of year?
I mean, I wouldn't be in a big rush because we don't have time to put it out to bid and then, you know, because our year ends June 30th. So they would need to do this
Right.
audit. So I wouldn't be in a great big hurry to do it until, you know, maybe fall.
In the fall? Okay.
any further discussion? Do we have a motion?
I think I did.
You made the motion? I thought you said it was just a good idea.
No, it's, oh, it's a motion too.
Oh, all right. We have a motion to, and it is a good idea, according to Mike, to put out to bid, have an audit
Would
bid.
you like me to
put
second
out.
it too?
Mike, would you like to second that as well? No. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we put the audit out to bid this year. Any further discussion? All right, those,
No, is that after the fiscal year starts or now?
well,
I would say in the fall.
in the fall, she said. Do you think that's okay? All right. Those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those not, it's unanimous. We are putting the audit out to bid in the fall. Now, we're moving on to discussing and getting information about a recent telephone bill and a hacking. It appears that our town office phone was hacked. And I think I'm going to ask, since Shannon has been personally involved with trying to get, it was many thousands of dollars.
Yes, the good
And
news
so
is
could
that.
you tell us, everyone here, because it's quite
Yeah.
shocking.
So the good news is that our phone bill is not $25,000, which
It
it
was
was
at one
at one
time.
point.
Huh.
Fairpoint adjusted it down to $3,359. So apparently they were hacking into our voicemail system and calling Dominica several times in the evening.
Can you give a little bit of, they were international calls
They were international calls,
linked to our phone number,
yes, because they hacked our voicemail
and
system.
they hacked your voicemail, and
And so there's no way to figure out who did it, because any which way you go in to look and see who did it, it looks like we did it. So it's very clever, but
and the calls were all to the Dominican Republic, mostly?
to Dominica. yeah.
Dominica,
Yes,
okay.
they were all to Dominica.
Okay.
And we've tried even getting those numbers. They're all throwaway cell phones. So there's just no way to track who got the calls, who made the calls.
Has any law enforcement agency been contacted about this?
I did mention it to the state police. They said basically the same thing. It's chasing ghosts because you can't figure out who made them. It looks like we made them. You can't figure out who had those throwaway cell phones because they're gone.
Do we need to change our number?
No, Southern Vermont Telephone came, it's really actually very frustrating because all of the options we have on our voicemail system now, most of them are shut off. So we have this great system that we can't use. So we've put in place every single block that we can come up with so that it won't happen again. And Fairpoint adjusted the bill down to $3,300.
Why couldn't they why do they have to leave that much on there?
That is their lowest international rate that they can offer. So,
So for 1 month?
mm-hmm,
For 1 month.
What's the phone bill normally?
$128. Yeah.
Ken?
Well, the contacting the state police is critical to establish our own paper trail that we did everything we were supposed to do to report it.
Right.
But-
I also, oh, sorry.
Yeah, so basically what we're being offered is their lowest rate, but we're not being offered any relief.
Community.
No.
Right.
And that strikes me as unacceptable. And it seems to me that further steps could be undertaken to continue to press a phone company that ultimately should shoulder that responsibility. So the question is how to defer payment on that until such time as we can go through all the steps.
And they're really not willing to defer anything. They've already given us a disconnect notice because we didn't get it to them quick enough.
No, thank
They're-
you.
So they're still charging you 3,000
Yeah.
something for
Yeah.
something we didn't even call on enough.
Right.
Right.
So there must be someone at the state.
And that is, it's.
I even
borders
contacted our
on
insurance
criminal right
company
there.
to see if there was coverage
yeah.
because we do have hacking coverage on our insurance policy. And they said it only covers computers, not telephone systems. So,
Yeah, just like you said, call the cops, and then they don't want to do nothing. Now, there's nothing you can really do, but just like she said, I mean, letting the people know too. I mean, what if it happened to be personal stuff? All of a sudden, you got a $20-some thousand bill, and they say, "Oh, we'll reduce it down to $4,000 for you. We're gonna help you out."
at that point, I just let them shut their phone off.
That would be my question. Was there any risk to us that are on the phone tree?
No. I did ask that because I was nervous too, because I used to have, when I would get a voicemail message here, it would call my cell phone to tell me I had a message. So I was a little worried
You were
about my
connected
own.
right up, yeah.
But no, it can't go the other way,
Okay.
which is good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, you
So-
suppose they're gonna be hacking everybody with Fairpoint or something?
And they say it's not them, but we did talk to somebody in charge of fraud at Fairpoint, and they said what they've been doing is targeting tiny little nonprofit businesses and municipalities. And we're not sure why that is.
Any other towns around there get hit with it?
Not that I'm aware of yet.
Yeah, I think I'd push it a little bit further than just calling the state cops, and, so these people know what it's doing, I mean, 'cause, like I said, just if it ever did, and if it's Fairpoint, first
Right.
hit your own goddamn place, it'd be pretty tough coming with $4,000. They're gonna shut your
Right.
phone off on some people, you know?
All solved in 7.
And I think it's harder to do on personal phones because we don't have the big systems at our houses that we do here. So it's a little harder to hack into.
So that's a new system that we voted to put in, we swallowed up.
Yep.
It's already been hacked.
And now we can't use half of the options that we have. So,
Is that something you can file with the Secretary of State?
That's what I'm thinking too.
maybe.
I think
I know
that's a very good idea.
I've worked through
You need to
that.
file that with the Secretary of State's office and the
Attorney General?
Attorney General's office, actually.
Yes. Yes.
And also,
way we should accept their.
no,
Right.
that's actually, does not seem very right, and it actually could actually be illegal. But I also like to have it be on BCTV, that this is happening, and also that Fairpoint is sort of holding us over the barrel with this $3,000. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm thinking maybe is there another phone company around here?
Southern Vermont Cable.
Vermont Cable. And, this is ridiculous that, this wasn't our fault. It was a criminal action against us. And instead of $15,000, oh, well, it'll be all right. We'll just charge you $3,000. There is something absolutely criminal about that.
Right.
So, in my mind, just in my opinion, it's not a board thing. So, I think we need to investigate it further. Yes, sir.
How far up on the supervisory step did we go? Did we ask for one supervisor that might speak English and then go to the next one and keep going up the ladder until we get to somebody that finally realizes that their corporation's reputation is on the line and that they might lose a customer even though it's only $100 a month?
That's why we need you here.
They're volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, how much do we actually even budget for telephone like that?
It's more than we had for the whole year.
Absolutely,
This is,
it's,
What is the average phone bill a
It's
month?
$120, $126 a month.
But it seems like if you do end up calling Southern Vermont Telephone, you should check with them what their policy is about.
Absolutely.
If you're
Before-
hacked again, and maybe even change the insurance. I
Well,
mean, if
that's,
this is likely.
my
to
other
happen.
question was, I mean, it's really hard to get out of the LCT insurance, but would it benefit the town at least to write them a letter saying they should really be looking at their policy because,
what do you feel?
The insurance company?
Insurance is for it.
yeah, I mean, they're saying because it's only for computers. Well, phone systems are computers now.
Yeah,
And if this is gonna keep happening to towns, they really need to revisit their policy.
yeah. You need to underwrite
Yeah, I
it.
wrote him a letter, but I still didn't pay his bill. I mean, that's just ridiculous, you know?
Well, we might need to have a vote on that, I'm not sure.
I mean, what do? They're gonna just shut off their phones and then.
Right. Ken?
We don't
Well,
answer them.
I agree with Shannon, but I think the first resort would be that direct relationship with Fairpoint. As much as we may love or not love so much our insurance companies, I wouldn't want them to be saddled with something that is really ultimately Fairpoint's responsibility. And so, apropos of Mike's suggestion, or even Gunther's, is that Fairpoint has to they have to step up to the game here and do what's right by us and by their own corporate standards. And then if down the road things don't work out, then we might press our insurance company.
I was just wondering, is the company who provided the, all these phone options, is that from Fairpoint that you get that package, or does that?
The phone system itself?
Yeah.
No, that comes from Southern Vermont Telephone.
No, so, I mean, I think they both have a responsibility, right? Because whoever designs the system should
Well, I
be
mean,
thinking about,
He didn't design the system, he just installs it, so,
Salesman.
somebody's gotta take responsibility for it,
yeah. It may be us, I don't know. I mean,
So Shannon, are you able to do some more looking into this
Yep.
and also some more investigating through Fairpoint? Asking for the supervisor, supervisor.
my question is,
Yeah,
in the meantime, while I'm doing this research, they're ready to shut our phone off because we didn't pay it.
I'd send him the $100, what it usually is.
so they're not gonna shut our
Send them
phone.
two just for getting it.
So,
I just can't imagine they could come back and say, when they know you didn't do it, and still charge you, we're gonna cut it down to $3,400 just to be good guys,
right, absolutely.
I mean,
So I could look into Southern Vermont in the meantime as well.
Ken?
Yeah, the more I'm listening to this, the more angry I'm becoming. I'm
No.
so completely with with Mike. The other matter too is that to threaten to shut off municipal phone service has got to be.
Oh, yeah.
You can't shut down a municipal phone service. How could you do such a thing? I mean, that's shutting the town down. If you want to get anything done, how could? I know, but
Don't care.
we have to find out a way to make them care.
Attorney General.
Should we
Yeah.
get our attorney involved?
How about call the Attorney
Yeah.
General though, too?
I'm sorry?
The Attorney General, Secretary of State, the Attorney General in Vermont.
Yeah,
That's who you should.
All right, who volunteers to call the attorney general?
I'll call them.
All right. And on payment of the current bill, do we have any other discussion about that?
that's what I said.
You've said this.
Well, I mean, it must be part of the original bill that we do have, right? I mean, is some of that bill ours?
only $126.
That's what I'd send them then.
Yeah.
I'd send
Yeah.
126.
Right.
Okay, do we have a motion to send,
Sorry, 129.
Oh.
129, oh my God.
129?
129,
For the current bill minus, the inhumane, no, minus the, all those other thousands that they tacked on.
2937.
Do we have,
I make a motion, we send 129.13 for our phone bill, and then get a hold of the Attorney General and the rest.
and,
let us see if
yes,
we can
contact
do
the
that.
Attorney General. Do we have a second?
I
Mike, it's
second.
12937.
Yeah, 129.37.
129.37. Contact the Attorney General about our,
I'll second it.
okay, do we have a discussion? Yes, right there.
I think if we're gonna send that partial, we admit something, that we owe that. I think we should send it through the lawyer.
Okay,
Start getting legal involved, because we as a group can't handle it, because the corporation is so much
are you
bigger.
thinking of the lawyer as the Attorney General for the state of
No,
Vermont?
our lawyer
Our lawyer.
send the payment with a letter, covering letter. And then we'll go state police, the state attorney. We register this thing officially as a crime.
Yeah,
It was a crime of fraud, yeah.
Okay, well, we have a motion, we're gonna need another motion to amend the first motion. So let's have a motion to amend the first motion to include,
That's true,
Yeah.
Mike, if you withdraw it.
you wanna withdraw that?
Right,
Okay.
just add what Gunther said.
Okay.
Just add down to it.
You know, I'm totally confused. May we have,
He remade the motion of what he said.
That's right.
okay, make a motion to what Gunther said. And Gunther, would you repeat it for us?
We're gonna do 129.37.
129.37
To be sent through the town attorney
Right.
with a letter.
with the letter.
with a letter. Okay, is that it? All right, we have a second on
This
that.
needs
I
to be
second.
seconded.
Marion seconds. Now, any further discussion on that?
I just want to
Oh, no.
We, at home, we don't answer the phone. We've been getting phone calls with a Newfane telephone number.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, you
Yes.
always get
Me
that.
too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah,
It's-
me too.
Yeah.
We don't answer our phone at home either until they leave a message.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then we know that it's not somebody saying we'll, you know, the lawyer will be very happy if we send a check, that kind of a thing.
Oh, is
Oh, yeah,
that-
they say it has to do with, when I get it from Newfane, they say, it has to do with my credit card bill.
Yeah, we have that too.
Or my mortgage, of which I have none, you know, whatever.
Well, there
Okay,
was something going around the other day, it was about a month ago, and that was on the news. Channel 3 News was doing it. And there's people calling you up, and when they ask you, they say, "Can you hear me now?" And they said yes.
Oh,
They
yeah.
Oh,
take
yes.
that yes, and pretty quick they're going through all these accounts with your
Right.
voice.
getting back to the motion. It is, we've a motion which I cannot repeat, and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. It does, the motion passes unanimously. I'm so glad that Shannon is here because she's keeping track and writing it all down. Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you very
Do
much.
you have any idea if there was any other towns in the state that had?
We have not heard of any.
Not sure yet. I do know that they are targeting small businesses and municipalities, but I'm not sure about if it's Vermont or, you
And
know,
the Attorney General might tip us off. Yeah, there's
They
like
might.
40 other towns.
yeah.
This would happen to.
Shannon, do you know the password for the internet?
Oh, yeah. I think. I'll give you what I think it is.
Thank you very much. It was, see, you came here and you really helped us out. We need you every time. All right, old business.
know is I have a blade in my head.
I know.
Getting all these
We don't want to hear it. All right. Old business, town office painting bids. We need an update and recommendations.
Okay, the Town Office Building Committee reviewed the bids that you received for the interior and exterior of this building. And the Town Office Building Committee recommends that you award the interior painting bid to Momini Painter in the amount of $11,600 as specified. And for the exterior painting bid, also from Momini Painters, there was a question at our committee meeting about further questions, and Frank called up Mo Momini, and in reference to the RFP that went out, it says removing and replacing deteriorated clapboards, skirt boards, and trim boards. And his proposal says replacing any rotting clapboards and trim as needed, which would happen during the scraping portion. So he did comply with what the RFP was. So our recommendation for that is that you, the board, approve the amount of $15,900 for the exterior painting. That includes, after the primer is dry, 2 complete coats of finished paint, which would last at least 15 years. The one coat was for...
10 years, wasn't it?
Yes, and it was for less money. He's scraping all of it. He's doing hand scraping. Let's see, he doesn't do any, let's see, what is it? He doesn't spray it. There's no spray paint. It's all applied with brush and roller. The lesser amount was for $12,600 or something like.
I think it was, and
Yeah.
it was just 1 coat of paint.
Right,
And this is 2 coats of paint.
right.
3 coats.
Well, the primer and the 2.
He's gonna use an oil-based primer on the higher quote, scrape everything down to bare wood. He's gonna replace whatever he finds to be rotten, but he's using an oil-based primer, which he's gonna thin down and it's gonna soak in. Then he's gonna put 2 coats of finished paint over top.
Right.
And he claims it'll last 15 years. If it'll last 12, I'll be a real happy guy, so. But he convinced me, he's professional. He's got 10 painters working for him.
Wow.
So this isn't a,
And we called his references and everyone said that he's excellent.
Good.
So our recommendation is that you approve the interior painting bid for Momini Painters for $11,600 and the exterior for $15,900.
All right, thank you very much.
And I gave you a copy of his 2 proposals with more details for you to look at.
And on the interior paint, is he using the,
If you look at his,
I don't have it right in front of
I
me.
attached it,
Yeah,
I attached it. That VOC paint, yes.
yeah,
Yes.
right. I do see that, okay. All right, so, any discussion?
I'll make a motion to accept his bids, 11,600 for the interior and 15,900 for the exterior.
I'll second that one.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion to accept Momini's bid that is sitting in front of us. All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That looked very nice. Open and accepting town committee updates. Ken?
Yes, we met last Thursday, starting about 5:40 and met until 7. Maud Polo, David Harlow, Apple Gifford, and Rick Rickards, and we were all in attendance. And we had the organizational meeting at first. As required, I was elected chair. Maud Polo is the recording secretary. We agreed to a meeting schedule that will take us, first of all, May 24th at 5:30 here at the town office. May 24th at 5:30. These are open meetings. Members of the public are absolutely invited to make comment. And we will have meetings in June, July, September, October, and in November at the select board meeting, we'd like to present our findings and recommendations.
In November.
In November, yes. And I should say that in the regular meeting now, after our organizational meeting, we divided up responsibilities. Everybody on the committee has a research responsibility. Of particular note is Rick's participation, because he's primarily responsible for soliciting and listening to input from the town, from people here in town. And, you know, and I share that enthusiasm of Rick's because, you know, letters to the select board would be especially welcome. Letters to the open and accepting committee itself, absolutely welcome. We need as much input from as many people as possible about our work. This is the work of the town, really. It's very important to have that input. And as such, people should also consider coming to those meetings. And I'm working very closely with Shannon to make sure that, you know, we do proper posting, that the minutes are posted, the agendas are posted, so that everybody can know what we're doing and when we're doing it. But again, May 24th at 5:30 here at the town office will be the next meeting. So, you know, we're excited. We're eager for input. People are approaching me, you know, at random times, which has been excellent to hear what people have to say about, you know, one of the most, you know, one of the most, how do I say, pressing issues that we're facing, you know, not only nationally, but very locally as well.
All right. So you're listing for what are the other members, do they have, what are their special?
Right, well,
jobs?
yes. Well, in particular, you know, Maud is looking at questions about refugees and refugee transitions and settlement. David Harlow is looking at the fair and impartial policing policy. Apple is, let's see, oh yes, looking at other towns that are pursuing similar activities as we are. My job is to come up with a, not for me to come up with, but to research, you know, well, what is a refugee? What is an immigrant? How is that defined? So that was my charge from a member of the committee. Ken, why don't you look into that? I said, okay, I'll look into that. My responsibility too as the chair is to help coordinate, but within the research, you know, that each of us do. And then Rick is particularly interested in gathering the input from people in town.
So would Rick be in touch with Shannon? Should letters come here or?
That would be a good idea for Rick and Shannon to have a line of communication so that if letters come to the open and accepting committee through the town office, that would be a way to communicate. And certainly letters to the select board, you know, if any of those come through, we'd be especially eager. I'm here anyway. We can watch the meetings on television, so I'm eager to hear those. And
we do have a couple of letters already to read, but the first, another question that I had is, it sounds like from what you're explaining that this committee is one mostly of research, finding information about different aspects of being an open and welcoming community.
yes, right. Because committee members are coming in with the interest, and this includes me too, you know, we come in with the interest on the basis of the, you know, resolution at the town meeting day, but we don't necessarily have the expertise right off the bat, so we have to do work. And on the basis of that work, then we would make recommendations as to, you know, what does it mean to be open and accepting or to welcome and protect. And that's why we absolutely welcome the input from other people in town, because that's part of our education process.
Any other questions or discussion? Oh, we have
Just an admonition that this committee was formed after the budget was formed. So they, as I see it, they have no funds.
They do not.
Okay.
Right.
Right, and I would add that, you know, like many other people in town, we're volunteering to do this.
That's right.
And our recommendations are to the select board, and then the select board does with the recommendations what they will, or
That's right.
what you will.
Absolutely.
So nothing that we do is binding. The only thing that's binding really is that we carry out our, you know, our activity as a committee. We're not at liberty to stop, you know,
Yeah.
doing our work. We have to follow through. And then after that, then it's up to the next step, whatever the select board may choose to do, or whether the select board instructs us or another group of people to continue to look into these matters.
Well, it's good to have that clarification, thank you. And thank you, Ken, for all your hard work. We do have some letters to, did you have a question?
No, there is a letter that I received in terms of questioning about the select board involvement. Carol, do you want to read yours first?
It doesn't really matter. We had a couple of letters.
I think you all have copies of all of them, so.
Yeah. Yeah, did you want to go ahead?
Okay. This is a response from a resident of Newfane. It's Gary Katz, and everybody on the board has a copy. And Gary wrote to me on April 21st, and he wrote, "Hi Marion, I'm writing as a concerned citizen. I just read about the board taking I just read about the board talking about the wording for the opening and welcoming issue. I have a couple of thoughts that I hope you will support. One is on Mike Fitzpatrick's point that anything the town wants to consider should be presented to the citizens by Australian ballot. He is absolutely right. The issue was brought up as only advisory at town meeting. The board doesn't even legally have to do anything about it, but if it does want to consider something, all of the voters of the town, not just the small percentage who were at the town meeting, should have a formal say on the issue. In the absence of approval by the voters, I don't think there is any legal basis for the board to take any binding action on the issue. Second, regardless of how individual members of the community may feel about the issue, or how strongly they may feel about it one way or another, it is clearly one of those possibly nice social issues to consider, rather than something that is a legal responsibility of the select board, or something that any town funds could be used for in the absence of a formal voter approval. Taxes are already sky high in Newfane, and we have a lot of other legal obligations and responsibilities that would claim a higher priority on any additional taxpayer-provided funds. I hope the board will focus its attentions on its already overwhelming platter of responsibilities and let individuals do what they wish as individuals on the social issues. The issue is just like those in past year where some vested interest group wanted the town to push for the impeachment of George Bush or any other socially divisive issue. The select board has plenty of work that is legally must be done without diverging attention and resources to these personal opinion issues. I would appreciate you having this read into the record and asking the board to provide me with the Vermont law citations that it thinks allows it to spend any of its time or resources on these types of issues at the cost of taking time and attention away from its legally established responsibilities. Thanks, Gary. Then he wrote another short letter, a clarification, a few hours later, the same day, April 21st. He said, "Hi, Marion, just a clarification about my request. Because Newfane, unlike Burlington, for example, is not a town charter town, the only things we can do legally are what is explicitly spelled out in state law. That's why I'm requesting the citation. If we had an approved charter, that's what would be governing this. But in the absence of that, the board's legal authority is narrowly prescribed by the state. The last thing we need is for someone to sue the town and the board members for acting without legal authority." Gary.
Thank
So
you.
those were the two letters that we received on April 21st.
I did also receive an email letter that I will read for the record. And I do have Dennis's, this is from Dennis Wiswall, and I do have his approval of having this read on the record. Dear Board of Selectmen, select person, I am writing as a concerned citizen about the Welcome, Accepting, Protecting Committee. With all the concerns that currently face the town of Newfane, does the Board of Selectmen really think it wise to undertake another project with potential expenses that will potentially add to the already overburdened taxpayer of Newfane? I personally am not opposed to a welcome wagon committee made up of concerned citizens to welcome new residents to town, but I believe it should be independent of town government. That said, I have concerns about the term protect, and these are his 5 questions. 1, how does a town with no police department and that does not contract with the sheriff intend to protect these new immigrants? 2, is the town making provisions with the state police for protection, and at what cost? 3, if one of the new immigrants falls victim to crime, is the town liable? 4, why should one group that resides in Newfane be provided something not provided to all residents? 5, is the town expecting a wave of new immigrants? If the Board of Selectmen, select persons, move forward with this matter, I feel it should be presented to the electorate of the Newfane via an Australian ballot after the appropriate informational meetings have been held and after the town attorney gives an opinion on the liability concern. Respectfully, Dennis M. Wiswall. So if you need copies of those, I'm sure that we can make you copies. Any other discussion? Thank you so much, Ken, for bringing us up with that update. All right, moving right along to the recycling committee membership. We need an update.
They just didn't get formally appointed at the last meeting.
I'm sorry, can you speak a
The
little?
members didn't get formally appointed at the last meeting, and
Oh.
they should have, so.
Oh, should we form, do
We
we
should,
want to do that
yes.
tonight?
Yes.
Do we have the members, a list of the members? Or did you, Johanna, did you want to speak to that?
Sure. At town meeting, we discussed this on the floor, and I think it was Gary who said it would be great to have a committee to address the recycling issues. And this good man stood up and said he'd be very interested in participating.
Wait a minute, I didn't stand.
I kind of fell into it because of my role at the Solid Waste Management District. Mike also expressed interest in being part of the committee, and he came to our first meeting. But I don't know if you saw my email that I wrote recently. I think that if I understood right, Mike, you want to probably be included in the potential bidding process. So it seems like maybe that is a little bit of a conflict to be on the committee, as great as it was to have you there. But I think it's probably better to not.
Did you discuss that with Mike?
Only through the email that I sent to him.
now's your chance.
I mean, that's all I have to say. I just, you know, it's,
No, actually,
I think is if you're bidding on something that's being discussed in a town committee, it seems to me like it's a conflict of interest to be in both of those roles.
That would probably be,
I don't know if it was really a bidding process. We were trying to just locate some pricing, wasn't it? I mean, just to get a rough idea, because we don't really have a budget even set up for this yet, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
there's no budget.
you know, there's a lot of
I mean,
different
we were just trying to
layers
see what it
to.
was actually gonna cost to go forward with something like this, wasn't it?
Well, it's a big issue, you know, so that's just one part of it. Is the
sounds like the information is one of the first things that you need to be involved with in finding out prices and finding out what can be done and who can do it and all those kinds of things. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know that I already made preliminary phone calls to 3 different companies to get an idea of what it was going to cost. You've already seen those figures. I got those in November and December. So I guess I'm not very familiar with this process of requesting quotes and information and bids. So I don't know if that would be considered already having the information. If you send out an RFI, a request for information, will you get substantially different information from what I already got when I phoned the guys? I don't know. So.
Tristan Johnson. I think Mike made an interesting point that the total description from the town, what it wants to do, includes where the bins are going to be held and how you're going to get to them, which is independent of someone bidding on providing the service. So I think that conversation is really a legitimate one for anyone to sit at the table and discuss, and therefore would not pose a conflict of interest if Mike were to stay with that, because, I mean, that's a critical piece of
I
information.
think the more information one has, oftentimes the better.
Right. I just think that this request, I mean, I've restructured it as a request for proposal, which unfortunately I didn't get sent out to you until this morning. Thank you, Shannon. But I think that a piece of the proposal should be, or the description of what's wanted, is this is where the town has set aside space, and this is how the town has decided people can access that space, and therefore under that operational condition, we're now asking you, whomever, qualified hauler, to offer a proposal to provide the service. So I think that what Mike was suggesting is really a good conversation to conclude, which has not been concluded yet. I think the point was, is there space at the town garage? And if there is, if there's not, then that's not a choice. And therefore, the where is still a major question.
Well, I'm thinking that before we can go too much further, it sounds like we need to approve of the people in this committee and give them, so that's one of the first steps we need to do. So since Johanna, you're going to be organizing the committee, and so we need that from you tonight.
I'm here.
Okay,
What do
and
you want me
who
to
would
do?
you like to be on this committee?
Who would I like to be on this committee? Well, Tristan, definitely. I think, Mike, I think it'd be great to have him there. I just, like I said, I don't know exactly
So
how or where we might have some conflicts, but I feel like there might be some. It doesn't mean that he couldn't be there for
Well, it's probably just like
parts
the
of
town.
it.
I mean, I bid on a lot of stuff through my company with town, and I sit it out for the bid. I mean, it's just like when I was asked to run for selectmen, I told them if ever interfered on anything bidding on the town, and sure as hell I'd be sitting here for $200 a year.
So is Mike on the committee?
I guess so.
But, like I said, like when I talked to you about the whole committee thing is, my idea, like you said that night there, is a little bit different, and just like the hauling of it. I was trying to give you a solution of a spot and the whole 9 yards, not just hauling the stuff away and dumping in a landfill. I was looking to do a whole recycle place on some of my property.
Right, well, I.
So I mean, it's a little bit different than just trucking it away.
Yeah, why don't we let's get the committee thing figured out.
Appoint the
And then
committee.
we'll go on to the next.
I make the motion
To appoint Mike.
to
Johanna,
appoint
Tristan.
Tristan and Mike Fitzpatrick to your committee.
And
In
Johanna.
And
And,
Johanna.
oh, of course, I thought that was already,
No, we got
understood that
appointed.
you're going to
nothing
be
is
the
secure.
chairperson or the head of the committee. So there's 3 people on the committee right now, if we vote on it and approve it.
Okay, we have a motion to form a recycling committee with Johanna, Tristan, and Mike. Any second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have that motion and a second. Any further discussion?
One question, in that, well, I suppose it can be dealt with later. It's what are the responsibilities of the committee? Because the reason what I was raising in my RFP version was, in that case, does Johanna have the responsibility to speak on behalf of the town, receive bidders, answer questions from bidders, actually review all the bids? Or is that responsibility going to be dealt with later? And will that be, so that would be one very specific kind of question.
That was sort of addressed in the one that I amended based on the comments
Right.
from the last
Do we
meeting.
have that one?
I have, you all have that.
We all have it.
Which says that everything
Oh,
goes
yeah.
through the town, right?
It should, yeah, except
That's better.
for
That's- yeah.
specific recycle questions should go to you because you're gonna know the answers. to
Shall I
them.
read
Oh,
this?
okay.
So, if you'd like to read
I mean,
that,
at least
sure.
the objectives, because that forms what you're being asked to do. The town of Newfane is soliciting pricing from qualified haulers to provide hauling and recycling services. Vermont Act 148 requires that transfer stations provide recycling services in conjunction with trash materials. Commingling containers, 49 tons, mixed paper, 52 tons, cardboard, 32 tons. Futures may drop slightly if we move our bins to another location. Since Wyndham Solid Waste Management District is loaning the district-owned recycling roll-off containers to member towns, which is, by the way, something we have to sign tomorrow, the vendors should assume there is no rental charge for recycling containers. And it goes on. Do you have a copy of this?
I know.
Yeah.
You do, okay.
Yeah,
Did
I
you,
think
have you had
system
time to look through it?
Yes,
Okay.
I mean, I wrote most of that, so.
Yeah, all I
She
did
just
was
corrected,
tweak it a little
she
bit.
just corrected some stuff, but Tristram has yet a third version to show you too, so.
And would this,
Excuse me, could I make a suggestion that we
Yes.
just postpone this discussion of the responsibility of the committee
I like that idea.
until we're at that moment?
Yeah.
Because I think right now there's work to do to just sort of establish what is it the town wants that it will then publish, asking haulers to respond to. And we don't have that picture clear yet.
I actually
Okay.
like that very much.
Okay.
And I think we just need to form the committee and this is a really tough one. This is like one of those puzzles that is 5,000 pieces and you have 10 minutes to solve it. You know, it's just really a very difficult task. And I'm just really thankful that you guys are stepping up.
So you were saying, what are the responsibilities of the committee? And my understanding is that we are gonna make proposals to you and you are
Yes.
actually going to vote on them.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, that's how it works.
Carol, do you and I want to work on a specific charge and then?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so we have, did we make a motion?
You did.
Yes, you made a motion. And did we have a second?
Yeah, Christopher did.
Okay, Chris, seconded. And do we have a vote? All those in favor of forming a recycling committee and with the persons involved in the recycling committee that have been so named, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. You're a committee. Thank you very much.
I just want to say, have you looked outside
Oh,
tonight?
yes, we have looked outside.
Don't we have a microcosm of what's going to happen?
Yes, absolutely.
So
We
it's,
looked outside
It
and
is happening.
it's horrifying. actually.
but it's a huge problem.
It is.
We're gonna
And
sell it.
and it probably can't be here.
I think actually you are a perfect one to also volunteer. You have great.
I'm too old.
You're not too old.
Without any help.
Yeah, but I just want all
Tristan,
four.
start working on it. Okay.
No, I like it on this side.
You are on that side.
I know, but, you know.
Thank you very much.
No, can't do it.
I don't even know what to do with my, okay. All right, moving right on. Is it, recycling RFI now?
So-
Not really?
I would kind of,
No.
you know, I think everybody should take them and read them and
Yeah, I think so.
So
So wait,
come back.
so did you tell them then what you have, yes, you did, you understand what he has done now?
Simply, from the experience I had in this kind of thing, I felt it would be easier to put together something called a request for proposal once all the facts were gathered about what the town wants. Then paint that picture in black and white, publish it to whomever wants to respond, and they'll all respond to exactly the same thing in theory, with a way to measure apples to apples or holler to holler. And then we'll be able to then conclude who ought to receive a contract. We don't have that yet. We don't have all the details clearly spelled out, so it's easy for anyone to respond.
And you don't have the budget, so that's
Correct.
why we changed it to request for information, because when you send out a request for proposals or quotes, people expect to be awarded.
You have to have it all nailed down.
And you have no budget.
Okay, all right,
So
okay.
that's why we changed it
Okay.
to information. That
Okay.
way, they're not necessarily expecting a contract, because.
So do
there's
you
no
think
money.
you're going to get significantly different figures from what I got already?
We don't know. We don't know.
And I mean, we can't tell them even where the bins are going to be located because we haven't
No.
figured it out. So here's the thing, is we already sat as a committee, which we weren't really officially, but we sat as a committee and looked at the land that the town has where we could put bins. And really, we decided that it was either the school or the town garage. And the school is, well, Tristan felt that that was not a great place because of the mess and, you know.
No.
So the town garage there's quite a bit of land. I know you're not favorable to this idea.
I'll explain why I'm not favorable.
Go ahead.
You've got trucks going in and out, going around, and you've got people coming in with cars that don't really have a clue what's going on. And it's a good idea, you're gonna have a bad accident do that. And the town garage doesn't need to mess around there like we got right out here.
Well, so we've thought about some of that. One of the things we were thinking of was having a fenced-in area, I think you might have heard already, with a swipe card. So that not just anyone can go in there, but only residents who have the card. And as far as, I think that's a pretty large piece of land. So I'm anticipating that there would have to be some kind of modification to where gates are, maybe trees cut down. I don't know, but it's a pretty big piece of land, isn't it?
150
Yes,
acres.
but there's another problem there that I don't want to see happen. And two people in this room, myself and Doris, are on the board. We don't want the Williamsville Cemetery to look like this out here.
Doris, I'm sorry.
They had, in years past, when I was administrative assistant, they had discussed using the town garage property for these recycle bins. And for those same reasons that Chris is talking about, there's too much truck traffic coming and going, and unless you were gonna be able to somehow put in another access in another section, it would not be a good idea to put it there. You've got people going to park to go on the trails, and traffic pattern wise, it doesn't work. You know, because people aren't gonna pay attention to the trucks that are coming and going. And when they talked about the area when you face the garage to the left, that's a wetlands. So you can't do it there. So even though there's a lot of land there, the land is really the trails up and back of the town garage. and it's not a good location because of the traffic patterns with the trucks coming and going, and people coming and going.
This is all part of your charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we go with the RFI format, we could ask for, what's your suggestion for where this should take place? And this is going to drag out the final decision process, but procedurally, we'll get to something that really makes sense, is taking the time to do that. So all of Chris's observations and Doris's sound perfectly logical to me, not having looked at a map of the land or the limitations from the wetland that might pose. But Mike had earlier, when we were meeting, the three of us in here, had a solution for the where. Anyway, so I think that the RFI process might kick out several options that might surprise us and might make sense. So it might be a way to go,
I like that. Good thinking.
maybe.
Oh dear, here comes your new member. Yes.
I was in town the other day and I went to the landfill and talked to the office manager, the lady. The place is intact. You can do everything there. You buy a $25 tag and each bag of trash costs you $3. There is free disposal of recyclables. It's all done by weight. The weight is taken in for nothing. And then you go and have your bags weighed, or as long as it's only 3 bags, it's $3 a piece. And after that, it's by weight. And the recycling and disposal is in place. It's not like July 1st, there's nothing left. All you have to do is drive there.
That's true, but
That's
the
right.
costs most likely will be
Yeah,
cheap.
well, everything costs, dying costs.
I'm so glad you brought that up. All right, well,
Gunther, are they saying that price is gonna remain after July 1?
I think
The
so.
$25
Yeah,
bag?
I got the price sheet. They give it for trash, for house, all sorts of stuff. And the little stuff is $3 a bag, max 3 bags.
Okay.
Ken,
Gunther, you're talking about down in Brattleboro.
Yeah, right.
Well, while all that may be true, part of my understanding of the very existence of the committee has to do with what occurred at town meeting,
That's right.
which was an overwhelming affirmation that we would like to continue to do recycling here. So that's my understanding of why we're having this discussion, which I personally welcome, that we continue to pursue what we can here in town. As much as Brattleboro is lovely and wonderful, I was down there today, but it's also great to be able to bring things locally too, which I also do, and that's lovely, except for what's going on out there right now.
that is true, what you said. There was an overwhelming vote to, in fact, there was a lot of discussion at town meeting about this. And the citizens did want us to look into keeping something here.
I can see $100,000 cost.
I would just like to say that I think it's not very likely that we're gonna have anything up and running by the 1st of July. Who knows where, we don't even know if the bins can be where they are, there's just the layers here, no money was put in the budget.
Like you said, it's a 5,000 piece puzzle, and we have 10 minutes to finish it. It feels like that to me. We've been this is kind of, in my opinion, sort of been dumped in our laps at the last minute. So we're doing the best we can, and I like the idea of going steady and thoroughly as we go, and not just jumping into something.
I'd like to say thank you so much,
Yeah.
Johanna. You have been sticking with this project, and you have been a representative in Brattleboro with the Wyndham Solid Waste Committee, and I just admire you so much that you're continuing to do this for us. It takes so much time, and it's been so complicated. And I really appreciate, we really appreciate it so much. And that you're here again tonight. It's great. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And I believe, is there any more discussion on this?
Oh, what is it, we need to ask the Wyndham Solid Waste for the bins, for the loan of the
By
bins.
May
That's on our agenda.
Okay.
Thank you.
The deadline
Yes.
is May 5th.
It is May 5th, yes, and we've already working on
The
it.
board
Yeah.
needs to decide if they need to do that.
I'm coming in
Probably
tomorrow.
Well, no, the board needs to talk about whether they're
Oh, is that,
requesting
but
it.
isn't that on the,
It's
it's the next one?
part of your packet. There's a letter from,
All right, May 5th deadline.
Yeah. I saw it before.
All right, so basically, can you explain it? The Wyndham Solid Waste District is giving us a deal.
they are loaning the bins. And even if the town can't pull it together, you know, I would recommend borrowing them. And if you need to cancel later on, that's fine, but you have to decide by May 5th whether you're asking to loan them, you know, to borrow them, so.
And I discussed this with Shannon earlier today, and even though we don't know where, what, or how at this point in time, we're just gonna go ahead and say, okay, we'd like those bins. Because if we all agree to doing something else, we can always give them back.
Do you have to vote on this?
So, we
Yes.
do have to vote on it. So, do we have a motion?
How many bins?
Well, we can have up to 3. And I thought 2 would be fine. We didn't, what,
Oh, you got 3 out there, right?
do you want to do 3 or just 2?
You got 3 now.
Yeah.
One's for cardboard.
I'm just wondering what you do. Will they do, the guy that comes hauling, does he have the same bins to replace them as he dumps them, or do you need 6 bins? So the guy that you ever hired has the other 3 on storage, it's always swapping with
Shouldn't need that.
Yeah, that's right.
you. So instead of 3, if not, he's gonna haul it out of here and then truck it back, so now your trucking just doubled. So you'd actually need 6 bins.
Well, I don't think they're giving us 6 bins. They're only giving us up to 3. Is that
Is that
correct?
what it is?
We have no idea of knowing how many.
I don't think it said.
I mean, you could ask for it and just see, but I mean,
Yeah.
it isn't costing you nothing just to tell them you want the
That's
3, but you're not out nothing. But I think, like I said, if not, you gotta have something to replace it when they dump it out.
Well, here's a question. If we had 6,
What happens a lot of the times like that, I know like when Wardsboro had their transfer stations and stuff up there, they bought X amount of bins. And so the garbage guy, Casella, whoever it was that was trucking it, always had one of your other bins. You might not ever see it again, it's going all around the district, but they've got one bin there, so when they come get you full and they drop you off another one.
So you only need
Which is the
4,
same
don't
thing as
they?
this. Same thing.
Same as this, but you only
Same,
got,
right.
right, so you might need another 2 or 3 bins if they come get them all in one shot to throw into the district, whoever does it, you know?
what do you think?
I think it would be good to have as many as we can right now. I mean, we have 3 bins outside, and it's a total disaster area.
Well, it's not,
Because
it's a disaster area because people drop stuff off. It's not for the,
Right.
there's things that they're leaving outside that don't belong in the bins. It's trash.
Right,
Yeah, but there's a lot on the
So-
lawn out back
yeah.
there too.
Oh, I know, I was picking up something today, just a handful, but I could have been out there.
And all
I
along
mean,
the tree line are just full of bottles
Yeah.
and
From the
stuff.
heavy winds.
That's why having a gate.
I mean, it's not gonna hurt to take the 3 no matter what, but if they give you 6, that's what I tell them I'd like.
I mean, if they're lending them to us.
I'm sure they don't have that many. They see, they had enough, so when they brought them in, they always had empties coming back too somewhere.
So, Mike, would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, go ahead and ask them for the 3 bins.
They used to be great.
Not gonna hurt nothing.
Okay, we have a motion to ask for, did you say 3 bins?
Oh, whatever they give you.
As many as
As
possible.
many as possible
Right.
bins.
Up to 6.
Up to
Yeah.
6, all right. Any second?
A second.
Marion seconds. Okay, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of signing the paper to ask to be, to receive on a loan basis up to 6 bins if possible. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay. We're moving on now to the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District Representative vacancy. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Johanna did resign from being our representative, and we have a substitute representative on board that has been meeting whenever Johanna wasn't here, and that is Shannon. And so to keep things moving along, because there is a deadline to having a representative. And what is the deadline? Do you remember? It's soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we thought we would want to keep things consistent until we can get another person to step up and be representative. That we would suggest the possibility of having Shannon be our representative full-time until we can get someone else.
Are you willing to do that?
And she is willing to do that. Hallelujah. So,
Thank you.
do we have a motion?
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, I'm glad those guys are down there doing all that work. All right, so do we have any discussion? All right, all those in favor of appointing Shannon as our Wyndham Solid Waste Management District's representative, please say aye. Aye. It's unanimous.
How often do they meet?
It's once a month, so it's not horrible. Thursdays.
Do you know
Thank
what
you so
day,
much.
are they on the same day or evenings?
Yeah, is it the second Thursday? Second Thursday. So
Thank you,
it's
Tricia.
doable.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
You should get on a committee.
No, I'm not doing this.
Okay.
And then we need to write a letter thanking
Absolutely.
her.
That's what I asked before. You said you did it already.
Did you
A
write
letter
that?
thanking Johanna.
No, remember I asked that before the meeting? I said, will we write the letter?
Oh, I thought you were talking about a different letter.
No. Oh, all these
Which I
letters.
did write.
Yes,
It
you
was
did.
brought up at the end of last meeting,
Right.
after we had adjourned, so.
Okay, so we,
Now I'm bringing it up again.
Shannon, can we agree, we don't even have to take a motion?
No.
No. Would you please write a thank you letter to Johanna for all of her hard work and her representing us for many years, and how appreciative we all are.
Yep.
Thank you. I think, does anybody want to adjourn this meeting? I think
Pay
we
orders.
want
Oh,
to
we've got pay orders.
You got some
Oh, I'm sorry. We need to say goodbye to you though.
Correspondence?
Yes.
Oh, we have to have the
It's
correspondence.
right
Oh,
there.
dear.
Next to the M&Ms.
Right here, next to the M&Ms? All right. Did anybody else want to read this? Oh, yes, okay.
This is the Marlboro Morris Ale
Like
Association.
something now.
Dear Board, spring has arrived and soon it will be time for Morris dancers to make their appearance throughout the area as part of the 42nd Annual Marlboro Morris Ale. We will be dancing at various locations in southern eastern Vermont on Sunday, May 28th, and gathering for a masked show dance at 5 p.m. Once again, we would like to have the beginning of West Street in Newfane beside the courthouse lawn as a location for a finale of our weekend. Our intention is to dance next to the courthouse from 5 to 7 p.m. as we have done in years past. As before, we will assume full responsibilities for any injuries and will clean up immediately after the event. We will again contact the Sheriff's Department for assistance with traffic control, and we will set up porta potties in the usual place, which is across the street from the courthouse, for the convenience of our 250 plus guests. If you foresee any problems with these arrangements or have questions, please contact me by May 1st. If I do not hear from you by then, I will assume we have your permission to dance. We look forward to dancing in Newfane again this year. Best wishes for a pleasant spring. Warm regards, Mary Sargent, Marlborough Morris Ale Association.
We don't have to do anything.
Just make a motion to.
Make a motion, we let them do it.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go ahead and approve this, which we do every year because it is amazing. So, you will definitely want to come to Newfane and watch. It's great. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
It's unanimous, all right. Okay, it's time for pay orders. Thank you very much for